Hello, my friends. I'm Chris Biffle, Coach B. It is a live October 7th, 2013, and the word for tonight is zingy. We have a zingy webcast on how to turn your kids into whole brain teachers and two bonuses at the end, a couple of which no one has ever heard of. So let's jump right in. Here we go. Here's the main screen. Whole Brain Teaching Masterclass, week 5 of the Masterclass. We want to transform our kids into whole brain teachers, and we do that with the Teach OK. So I'm going to start right now and just ask how many of my viewers are using the Teach OK. If you never heard of the Teach OK, that's cool. Put your name in green, which will mean that you're a rookie. We love to help rookies. We've got some people online who are using Teach OK. Let's get really much better at it. Here's the book. Some of you have bought it. Mostly been hearing about people who are thrilled with it. So if you got challenging kids, I just wonder what you should buy. Biffy Bluebird has an idea for you. And there's a recent count, 105,843 registered members. 4 million views on YouTube. That puts us up there, my friends, with Beyonce. We're one of the world's most popular education websites. Why? It's free, fun, and it works. Now, here's a brand new segment. How did it all start? Many of you are losing sleep wondering how we got to be so huge. Well, Andre Desch is online. He should change his name to Red, and he's going to find out how we got to be so huge. Here's the first chapter of the story. We're right there in Yucaipa, California, where we were noble failures as an instructor for 29 years. I'm talking about me, Coach B. 29 years teaching philosophy at a community college. And baby, lecture discussion does not work. It took me a long time to figure it out. I thought the problem was me. I thought I had to lecture better or discuss better. It doesn't matter. Once in a while you roll a dice and you get lucky, you get a good class, or you say something that perks everybody up. But you do lecture discussion, and in lecture, you got kids zoning out after 5 minutes. And discussion, you feel good if you got 7 out of 35 participating. So 29 years of failure, that's the first chapter. Here's the second chapter, straight from me, Coach B. And then one day I came in with wadded balls of paper. I said, when it looks like you're paying attention, I'll throw a ball of paper in the right corner. When it looks like you're not paying attention, I'll throw a ball of paper in the left corner. If there are more balls of paper in the right corner, 1 page less homework. More paper balls in the left corner, 1 page more homework. Bingo, bango, bongo, 100% student engagement. That's how it started, throwing balls of paper in the corner, which means that's the birth of the scoreboard. which we'll discuss next week. So I go boom, 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 boom. Wow, were they paying attention? After 29 years of trying everything under the sun. Maybe you can relate to this. What's the lesson? The lesson is this. Put it right over your bathroom mirror. Fish where the fish are. Pleading doesn't motivate. I want you to promise me right now you're not going to plead anymore. Being a clown doesn't motivate. Threatening feels good, but it doesn't motivate. Grades do not motivate. They're too far away. So we're trying all this stuff and it doesn't work. Less homework tonight always motivates. Our motto, there's always fish in the immediate rewards pond. Who can dig what I just said? You understand what I'm saying? We will talk about how to set up those immediate rewards next week. But stop doing, if you're doing stuff and it doesn't work, promise me before our online audience, you'll stop doing it. Let's just have some input here from my highly motivated teachers who are learning about teaching on a Monday night. What are you doing that isn't working? And you decided right now tonight, you're not going to do it anymore. So here we are. Here's the last chapter of the story. Look at all of those places. We have heard from every one of those 30 countries that they're doing whole brain teaching out there. And that's direct communication. If you go to YouTube, we have people on every country on the planet doing whole brain teaching. That's me, the handsome guy, and that other lumpy looking fellow, that's Chris Rexted. He is the co-founder of Whole Brain Teaching. He was my former student, brilliant instructor, and he showed me how to do whole brain teaching for the 4th grade. Biffy Bluebird, how you doing? Hi, Coach. What if someone wants a copy of these slides or needs professional development certificate? And there's my friend Smarty Wonderby. Hey, Coach. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Details are at the end of this program. Thank you, Smarty. That's okay, Coach. Let's jump right in, my friends. Rookie, teach okay. We got 3 levels. Rookie, pro, and all-star. Here's rookie. When you want students to teach each other, speak briefly, clap twice, and say teach. The students clap twice and say okay. Students paraphrase what you've just said. Emphasize that your students use a full turn and big gestures. So, I'm going along, yada, 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 yada. I finish, teach. And the kids say, okay. And they turn to their neighbor and they start teaching. That's the rookie level. People call it pair share. But the problem with pair share is, 1, it isn't fun. And 2, you say, okay, now boys and girls, I want you to pair up and share what I just said. You do pair share that way and you're going to get a lot of kids just staring at you. Teach okay. Gets a clap into it. Show them the turn. Make it fun. Now here's my challenge to you, my friends. Here's that Teach OK rookie screen again. If you want to consider yourself a rookie, you've advanced to the rookie level after you've used Teach OK 10 times a day, 2 days in a row. Keep track on a tally sheet. Let's poll my online audience. How many people are at the rookie level using Teach OK 10 times a day? I want to know. Tell me, please. Who's using it 10 times a day? All right. Thank you for your honesty. Get in there and try it. Here's how you start, my friends. Here's how you start. The teacher says, when I say teach, you say okay. And you say teach, and they say okay. Now, when I say teach, you say okay, and turn to your neighbor and teach them the classroom rules. Teach, okay. And kids turn to each other and teach each other the 5 classroom rules. That's why we went over the 5 classroom rules already. It gives you something to practice the teach okay with. Because here's the truth. Don't you like it when someone says, here's the truth? You expect it. Hey, I thought this was all the truth. Here's the truth. The longer you talk, the more kids you lose. Now let's stop here and talk about kindergarten. You say in kindergarten, you scaffold this way. Look at your neighbor. Look at me. Look at your neighbor. Look at me. Look at your neighbor with your hands up. Look at me. First is just look at your neighbor, look at your neighbor, look at your neighbor. Then, and this is straight from Andrea Schindler, the guru of kindergarten, she says, take your speed wheels and stick them on your bottom. Now I want to see you use those speed wheels and turn to your neighbor. Now turn to me. Turn to your neighbor. Turn to me. And then you say, turn to your neighbor and say, howdy, neighbor. Howdy, neighbor. Turn to me. Turn to your neighbor and say, this is fun. This is fun. So turn to your neighbor, tell your neighbor, all of this sets up just the movement from you to the partner, you to the partner. And the speed wheels, wow, those kids get the speed wheels on their bottom and they're just swiveling over there. And use extra grease, as Nancy says. Now guess what? We got a special treat for you tonight. A little animation. This is really hard to do, but I love my students. Here's some animation. Here's the Teach OK pattern 1. The red box is the teacher. We'll call that the mauve box, are the students. Check this out. Here it comes. Watch this now. Boom. The teacher says class. The students say yes. You dig this animation? Then you speak briefly. Clap twice and say teach. And the students teach each other over and over what you said. Let's stop there. The kids must repeat. We don't want kids doing this, I told my neighbor. You tell them, if I'm teaching you tennis, you've got to repeat and repeat and repeat. If I'm teaching you chess, you have to practice, practice, practice. So when you turn to your neighbor, keep repeating till I call you back. And in general, listen for about 2 repeats until you call them back. And you're going to be thrilled to know that the animation is not finished yet. Here's a little more. Walk around the room checking comprehension, praise or prompt, then start over. Do not, I'm taking the glasses off. You know this is serious. Do not stand and argue with the kid. Do not say, now come on now, use gestures. Did you hear me? Use gestures. No. You got 35 kids. You praise them, good use of gestures. Or you prompt them, I want to see some gestures. Praise or prompt and leave. Listen for what they're saying, praise or prompt and leave. So, whole brain teaching is a fantastic weight loss method because you're walking all day long. You don't have to go to the spa after a day in a whole brain teaching classroom because you walked it off, my friends. Couple more animations for you. Add gestures. So when you're talking, add some gestures so that kids use gestures. They know some gestures to use. And it's 15 to 45 seconds. That's the killer. You're talking too long. Did you ever notice? Maybe I've mentioned this before. The longer you talk, the more kids you lose. I want to have true confessions tonight. I just feel it. Who's a talkaholic? Who just talks and talks and talks and talks? Come on, confess. I'm looking online. Who's a talkaholic? Gwen says yes. Oh yeah, isn't every teacher, says Howard. I even got my vets confessing to be talkaholics. That's why we become teachers. We love to talk. And that's what drives us crazy. No one's listening. I'm telling you, 15 to 45 seconds. People have timed me. I think Sarah Metter timed me once, and I'm hitting around 40 seconds before I do the teach okay. We'll show you some tricks. We're full of tricks. Here is a printed out screen of exactly what to say and do. Start with the attention getter, class, or class, or class, boom. And then here I've written out the little lesson. Today's lesson, let's get it up tight here. Really up tight so you can see it. Today's lesson is going to be on fractions. We're going to study fractions today. That's the lesson right there, those two sentences. I said the same thing in two different ways. Then this is the instruction. When I clap twice and say teach, you clap twice and say okay. Teach your neighbor what I said. Be sure you use a full turn and big gestures. So let's go over that. You give a two-sentence lesson. One sentence and then the next sentence says the same thing in a different way. So they're learning paraphrasing. Then you tell them, full turn to your neighbor, say what I said, use big gestures, and keep repeating. That's the tagline. Repeat that tagline until the kids are doing it automatically, and you have to keep coming back to it. Let's go back to this lesson I wrote out for you. This is a fraction. A fraction has a top number and a bottom number. And then repeat the tagline. Here it is. This is a fraction. A fraction has a top number and a fraction has a bottom number. Now, most teachers would keep on talking. No, no, no. Taking off the glasses. If you want, this is huge. If you want your kids to learn proper grammatical structure and to rehearse this information. This is a foreign language to them, talking about fractions. If you want them to learn this foreign language, you have to be brief enough so they can remember what to say to each other without leaving stuff out. That's why I'm saying, make it shorter. And you might say, well, Coach, I got so much to cover. Here's the answer. You have a lot to cover. If you're making a point every 2 sentences, then after 10 sentences, you've made 5 points. This doesn't take longer, it's faster. And it's more efficient. Because if you've taught at all, you know the experience of explaining things so clearly. And then you give them some stuff to do, and it's if you never talked about it. Talked about it. All right. Here comes an important point. How do I know? Because look at the size and magnificence of those graphics. People ask me, how do you do the graphics? I say, with a really sharp crayon, my friend. Do not use a dull crayon. It will not come out as good. Here's the point. When students are teaching each other, the speaker uses big gestures, and the listener mirrors the gestures. That way, both students are employing their motor cortex. And you can immediately see who is off task. Everyone is gesturing all the time during Teach OK. My friends, tell me online. Have you ever had a moment in class where they're doing the Teach OK and everyone is gesturing? How does it feel? How does that moment feel? That's why you got into teaching. To teach. How do you know you're teaching? You're looking at them and they're saying what you said and they're moving. It's incredible. Here's the whole brain teaching and all the elementary school teachers mainly who made it happen. Jeff Battle just came in along with me, and he came in after all the elementary school teachers had done the work. Here's to all those teachers. All right. Now, you're ready for the pro. Here's the pro, Teach OK. When you want students to teach each other, use mirror words or silent mirror or magic mirror and then say teach. So use the stuff I've taught you. So you're not just saying class, you're saying class, class, or classity, classity. And you're not just teaching, you're using hands and eyes or mirror words or silent mirror. You're putting it all together. Here's the challenge. You've advanced to the pro level when you use Teach OK 20 times a day for a week. Keep track on a tally sheet. You're a pro when Teach OK comes as second nature. Let's talk to the pros tonight. Nancy, Sarah, Andre, Jeff, Budsley, how many times a day do you clap twice or say teach? I don't care if you just have 1 hour classes. How many times a day, veterans? Pay attention, my friends. 20, says Pine Tree Ella. Pine Tree, welcome from Canada. At least 15 times in a 45-minute. Nancy says 20 to 30 times. Over 60, says Budsley. Budsley, I think that's right on. Yes. 20 to 40 times, says Jeff Battle. That's why he's known as the Magnificent Battle. Yes, my friends, we're teaching them to teach each other. All right, here we go. Here's the pro column template. Now look, you can use this, but put in mirror words or silent mirror or hands and eyes or magic mirrors. Write in your attention getters. And then speak briefly. Make big gestures, 1 point or repeat it twice, and then put some variety in your Teach OKs. I'll give you a variety of Teach OKs. I'm telling you right now, there's an ugly rumor going around that the whole brain teaching police have been busting people for clapping more than twice. That's not true. You will get busted by the whole brain teaching police if you only clap twice. You see that rumor's all twisted. Clap once, clap 3 times, clap and go la 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 la. Clap and say teach. Clap and slap the desk. Do not get busted by the WBT police by boring them with clapping twice. Lots of variety. Make it fun. Now we are ready for the all-star Teach OK. Folks, if you have some questions, now is a good time to put them online. What questions do you have? And the red names will answer. If you're brand new, put your name in green so we can really help you. Here's the pro. I've been saying it. I've been hinting at it. When you're really good at this, you're often only using 2 sentences. That's your target. Break it down into such small pieces that every sentence counts. And you know what, my friends? If you do the Teach OK, you don't get off topic. You know, like you start talking about your summer vacation. They love it when you talk about your summer vacation. They look at you like this. Oh, really? Did you like water skiing? You say, oh, boy, they care so much about it. Yes, they do care about you. They're delighted to discover that you're a human being. But they're also excited that you're off topic. If you do the Teach OK, you can't get off topic and you can't wander around and wander around and wander around. Because then when you say teach and they say okay, they don't know what to say because you've been wandering and off topic and talking about your summer vacation. You know what? I think there are teachers out there who talk about their personal lives. Oh, my friends, no, please. No personal lives in the classroom. Unless it's just like absolutely necessary. But I think teachers go through breakups and share it with their second graders. Tell me if you heard about teachers who are doing stuff like that in class. I'm taking a drink because I can't stand that. All right, let's go back. 2 sentences. That's what I'm challenging you with. If you could do 2 sentences when you need to, you're an all-star. You've advanced to the all-star level when you use Teach OK with 2-sentence micro lessons 20 times a day for a week. Keep track on a tally sheet. You're an all-star when you consistently speak briefly. Now, you may not be using 2 sentences, but how many people out there in my audience believe when their back's to the wall, they could construct a 5 or 10 point lesson using 2 sentences at a time? Any all-stars out there? Let's see. What do we got? Manuel says yes. Nancy says sure. Budsley, of course you can. You're one of our kindergarten superstars. Give me 5 minutes, any topic, says Sarah Metter, and she can do it. My friends, I'm so happy with you. Stop the show. Brian Hopkins, who's been looking for a kindergarten job, got a kindergarten job. Brian Hopkins, 1 night only, put your name in red. We're so delighted you got hired because you're a hot dog at Whole Brain Teaching. Everybody, here's to Brian. Future of one of the greatest kindergarten teachers ever. Yes, my dear Brian. All right. Back Let's don't get off topic here, Coach. Here's the all-star 3-column template. Very simple. Use a lot of variety in your attention getter. Do 2-sentence micro lessons and a lot of variety in the teach okay. And you are an all-star. That's what it takes. You're teaching in pieces that kids can understand. Let's sum it up. Rookie, teach okay 10 times a day, 2 days in a row. Use a tally sheet. Pro, incorporate the class yes and mirror and hands and eyes 20 times a day for a week. All-star, you can whip out a 2-sentence micro lesson. As soon as you see a kid starting to drowse off, you can do it. Another important point. Now, here is an exception to the rule. Pay attention. Keep your micro lessons short unless you're reviewing a series of micro lessons. Then you can speak at greater length, going over the main points. Walk around the room and check to see if students are able to speak paragraphs to each other, summarizing what you've taught. Build the forest by planting individual trees, but build that forest. This is a brand new point. I've never made it before, but here's the deal. Short, 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 short. My friends, I've just made 5 points. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4, and point number 5. Turn to your neighbor, count the 5 points on your fingers. That's when you can speak longer. Speak longer in review. You want to see, did they get the big picture? Do they see the forest? Because you planted all these individual trees. All right. Use this sample tally sheet, the WBT overview. Keep track of what you're doing. My friends, if you don't use the tally sheet, you don't know where you've been or where you're going. And here's the question that gets asked at every conference, Mr. JJ Jive. But what about the kids who don't go along, Coach? We got them. We got them, JJ. Oh, Coach, I hope so. Huge point coming. We've made this point several times. Rehearse the teach okay 5 times a day, emphasizing the full turn and gestures. So practice it, practice it, practice it. After each rehearsal, pick 5 to 8 kids as a leadership team. Ask them to stand up. No more than 2 rebels. Stand next to the weakest rebel. Then give a short sample lesson ending with a teach okay. Observe the full turns and gestures. Praise any improvement by the leaders and rebels. There's no place for the rebels to hide. You got to make it obvious that someone isn't participating. It's a lot easier to sit with your hands folded than it is to stand up with your hands folded. It's a lot easier to stare around the room when you're sitting down than if you're one of 5 kids standing up. Get your leadership team. Don't let the rebels hide. 1 rebel and 4 or 5 leaders, and practice that. Anybody use the leadership team? How's it working out there? Tell your friends. Here's our summary. Rookie, teach okay 10 times a day. Pro, 20 times a day and use the other whole brain teaching techniques. All-star, micro lessons 2 sentences each and keep track with a tally sheet. Here's the summary. Here's week 5. In week 1, let's tighten it up, my friends. In week 1, We did the rookie class, yes, the pro class, boom, and the all-star core knowledge. Anybody using the core knowledge as an attention getter? Who's been here from the start? That's where you say 7 times 7, and they say 49. Or you say bottom number in a fraction, and they say denominator. All right, if you are using core knowledge, you are an all-star attention getter. You should be thrilled. Now let's go to week 2. Mirror words, silent mirrors. Anybody using magic mirror? I will demonstrate magic mirror. You say magic mirror, and they say magic mirrors. Ooh. Then you talk slowly, and they make the gestures and say your words. If you're using magic mirrors, then you're a mirrors all-star. Ho! Classroom rules. Rookie, you have to review them. Pro, the kids review them. All-star, you say rule 1, the kids say follow directions quickly. And they start following directions quickly. Rules implementation. Look at the week 4 webcast and teach okay. We've talked about that today. Anybody feeling like, well, let's just see. Who has been here for all 5 weeks? Who's been such a good student? They've been here for 5 weeks in a row in the master class. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, I'm seeing lots of names. Yes. And my friends, if you miss it, it's stored in the archive at wholebrainteaching.com. Good job, my friends. Yes, Hobbsy. Now, if you're interested in our custom rules, they're a whopping 99 cents each. You can get them there at the store. Oh, it's Mrs. Linenthal. Hi, Coach. How you doing? Mrs. Linenthal, are you feeling okay? I never felt better, Coach. I've been a little sick, but I'm feeling zingy today. Well, Ms. Linenthal, tell us. What do you got to say? Gosh, Teach OK sounds great, but how could I get professional development credit for this broadcast and a copy of these slides? Ms. Linenthal, I'm glad you asked. This is program 561. Write it down right now, my friends, 561. Go to the website and there's a PayPal button. Put $5.61 in there and I'll send you a copy of all this stuff. There's the PayPal button right there. Enter the amount, $5.61, and you'll get a professional development certificate suitable for framing. And another one, a front and a back. I'm also going to throw in, and you won't believe this, you order the Teach OK, I'm going to throw in a download what is an inference. 40 slides in this download. I teach your kids about inferences, and inference is huge in Common Core. So it's just one goodie after another. And you know what? I haven't even given you the 2 Zingy bonuses yet. Here's next week. The scoreboard. Do not, I say, do not miss next week. Do not miss next week. The scoreboard. Does anybody not know what the scoreboard is? No clue what I'm talking about with the scoreboard. I'm taking a drink. Yeah. A lot of people know about the scoreboard, but I'm going to cover it in zingy detail. And listen to me, I'm taking the glasses off. Silence your hearts, my friend, and let this pour into the deepest recesses of your mind. Next week, I'm going to show you the most powerful version of the scoreboard, teacher versus students, with an incredible new way to sell it to your kids. Jeff Battle doesn't even know it. Sarah Metter doesn't know it. A new way to sell teacher versus students to your kids. The most powerful scoreboard next week. So please build your life around next Monday night. All right. You want an on-site seminar? Send me an email. chrisbiffle@wholebrainteaching.com. We'll see if we can get you set up. Now, who's ready for the first Zingy bonus? I want to see some people out there ready for their first Zingy bonus because I got 2 for you tonight, my friends. I'm taking a belt, a California Clear. Woo! I'm going to zing you right now. Double Zingy bonus night, very unusual. It's the high five switch, and it was invented by my brother from another mother, Jeff Battle. We used to do the switch in 2 different ways. It's so good. This is how we're doing switch now. Read along with me. Divide your class into 1s and 2s or peanut butter and jelly or whatever. Tell them to take turns with who starts doing the teach okay. When one student finishes her point, she high-fives her partner and says switch, then the partner begins. They keep switching until you call them back. Both students learn speaking and listening skills. For extra fun, the speaker stands and the listener sits. The switch is a major piece in whole brain teaching. It's part of the Big 7. But this is the simplest way to do it. Kid finishes a point, says high five, and the next kid starts. Even better, kid stands up, finishes her point, she's gesturing, the other kid's gesturing. High five, that kid sits down. Now, you want to run a tight ship. I know you do, because you wouldn't be here on Monday nights if you weren't interested in running a tight ship. You say to the kids, I want to see that high five switch, and I want you to stand up. And here's what kids are going to do. I'll do it. So they're going to go, high five switch. Then they stand up, and they start teaching. And you say, no, my friends, are you kidding me? You don't wait till you stand up to start teaching. You're talking as you rise. So it looks like this. Switch. All right, now I'm talking right now as I rise. Be sure the kids are talking as they rise. Why? It's more fun. And every second of transition in which the kids are not learning is a wasted second, and it opens the window for a gust of disruptive activity. When we say 100% bell to bell instruction, 100% student engagement, we do not mean 99.9. We mean every stinking second teaching and learning is going on. Talk as you rise. And now, my friends, another Zingy Bonus. Ho, 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 ho. Another zingy bonus. And this is a big one. Nancy may not know this. Jeff Battle may have forgotten it. Blizzard may have never seen it. It's called the grabber. Oh, politically inappropriate name. It's called the grabber, my friends. Here's the problem. You've taught kids to raise their hand to ask a question, and kids are raising their hand to make off-topic comments. I was in Andrea Schindler's kindergarten class last week. She's brilliant. Kid raises his hand, kindergarten. Andrea calls on him. And she says, "Do you need something?" You know, and she's trying to cut down. Like, do you need a tissue? Do you need a drink of water? What do you need? He goes right past need. He says, "My mother and grandmother gave me a haircut." You're teaching. Kids have their hands up. You stop teaching. And they make off-topic comments. Who's been there? Who's been there? I'm going to show you how to fix it. All the time, right? Always there. I don't know. I don't feel the energy. I just feel like maybe I should just forget this and, you know, maybe you could live without the grabber. I'm just going to take a drink here and see if I can get a little more energy. Because I'm not seeing the exclamation marks. That's what I'm not seeing. I'm taking a belt. Oh, I'm seeing some exclamation. Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, my bad. I'm sorry. I completely misjudged this audience. They're wearing out the exclamation mark key. All right, here you go. Here's the grabber. Read along with me. You've taught kids to raise their hand for permission to speak, and they've got their hands up all day long, often interrupting you when you're trying to make an important point. Teach them the grabber. You reach out and close your hand as if grabbing the question. This shows that, yes, you see the child wants to say something. The child puts her hand down in a fist. When you're finished with your point, go around and ask kids with fists what they wanted to say. Take all the questions at the same time, not scattered through your lesson. Here's what it looks like. You're teaching along. Mary has her hand up. You do this. And you do this as you're teaching. I got your question. Mary takes her hand and puts it down and makes a fist, and you finish your point. You can grab a question here and grab a question there and grab a question there. How do you teach your kids to do this? I almost said duh. I'll just take off the glasses. You teach your kids to do this by rehearsing this. You have to have a set apart period where what you're teaching is the procedures that you use when you're teaching. So stop for 30 seconds and have some kids raise their hand with imitation questions. I got it. I got it. I'm still teaching. The grabber. Who's digging it to the max? It is the equivalent of duh. Use it tomorrow. All right. All right, my friends. You know, we got a special deal on the book. There's an electronic Kindle edition. When you buy the book, the electronic Kindle edition comes along for only $4.95 instead of $7.99. So you can have the book on your computer and in your hand. And here's the other special deal that some people are interested in. I'm going to sell you 10 webcasts for $19.99. That's ordinarily costs you $50. Here's the webcast for $19.99. Universal homework model, oral writing, super improver's wall, the genius ladder, 5-step lesson template. Prove it for test preparation, Mind Soccer, Brain Toys 1 and 2, and Super Speed 1000. How do you get it? Piece of cake. Go to PayPal, put in $19.99, and I'll send you all 10 of those. All right, my friends. I love Monday nights. We have a huge audience every Monday night. And if you have questions, by all means, stay online. And people will stay online just to help you. So this is how we finish up. Tell us what your state is and what your grade level is. Let that stuff just pour down the screen. Where you're located and what your grade is. Oh my goodness gracious. All over the nation and Ontario, Canada, and Minnesota, and Alabama, and Florida, and Vancouver, another Canadian, California, North Carolina, Long Island, Central California. My friends, I thank you so much for attending. I'd love to see you next week. And the life of the Biffle family, as some of you know, has been going through some difficult times with health issues. We're having a good couple of days, but please keep the prayers coming in. We have major difficulties in my family, and we thank you so much for your prayers. We just love helping each other. So it's Coach B signing off. Power to the teacher.